Hi guys, I trust you're feeling well and awesome. Welcome to this video on grade 11 mathematics, and in this video we'll take a look at how to solve equations using factorization. So first we'll start having a look at what are the type of equations that you're solving in grade 11, and then we'll have a look at how to go about solving them using factorization. Without any further ado, let's get into it. So in previous grades, you were shown how to solve linear as well as quadratic equations. A linear equation could be something along the lines of 6x minus 4 is equals to 12. So basically what makes this a linear equation is the fact that the highest exponent of the variable is 1. Hence, this is a linear equation. In grade 9, you were also introduced to equations in the form y to the power, y to the power 2 minus 64 is equals to 0 for an example. This is an example of a quadratic equation. Why quadratic? Because the highest exponent of the variable is 2. So these are the two main types of equations that you'll be using even in grade 11. Now, we said quadratic equations can be solved using different types of factorization. If you don't know the different types of factorization, I've got a playlist that I will put the link to in the description, and you can check it out so that you understand the basics of what exactly factorization is, how to identify the type of factorization to use depending on the format of the equation, and also how to go about doing that specific form of factorization. Examples of these factorization techniques include the common factor, the difference of two squares, as well as the trinomial. Now, in grade 11, there are three ways that you can solve quadratic equations, and in this video, we're looking at the first one, which is the factorization. The other two means are completing the square as well as the quadratic formula, which we'll have a look at those in other videos. So, let's get into the factorization part. Now, we are asked to solve for x in this example where we've got x squared plus 4x is equals to 0. Let's go to the writing pad. So, we've got x squared minus 4x is equals to 0. So first of all, ask yourself, what type of factorization can we use here? Well, if you've had a look at the videos and if you understand factorization, then you would know that the type of factorization we could use is a common factor. Why common factor? Well, because both terms have x in them. So my common factor is x. Now, to get the terms inside the bracket, I take my first term and I say my first term divided by my common factor, that's just going to give me x. First term in the bracket is x. Next, I take my second term. So negative 4x, notice I take it with the negative sign, and I divide by my common factor. My answer is negative 4. So we've got negative 4 in the brackets, and this is equals to 0. Now to solve for x here, what you will say is x is equals to 0, or x minus 4 is equals to 0. If I take minus 4 to the other side, I'm going to get x is equals to 4, x is equals to 0. Brilliant. These are my two x values. Wonderful. Let's look at the next example. So in the next example, we've got x squared minus 6x is equals to minus 8. Let's have a look at this one. So we've got x squared minus 6x is equals to minus 8. Now, if you are thinking that you're going to go about the same technique that we used in the first question, whereby you say, okay, you take out your common factor of x, and then you remain with x squared minus 6 is equals to negative 8. Then you say x is equals to negative 8, or x, whoops, I made a little bit of a mistake here. This is not supposed to be squared. Or you say x minus 6 is equals to minus 8. Please take note of something. This is hopelessly wrong. And why is this wrong? Notice in the first example that the number on the right hand side was 0. In this question, the number is a negative 8. If the number is not 0, do not go about factorizing the way you did here. So let's remove everything that we have done here and actually look at how we would do this correctly. So goodbye to this. And let's get rid of that red. Let's get rid of this red circle that I drew here. Awesome. So when you have a setup such as this one, what you need to do is you need to, first of all, take negative 8 to the other side. So you're going to get x squared minus 6x, negative 8 crosses the equal sign, it becomes positive 8, and this is equals to 0. Now what you can now do here is notice that this is a trinomial. You can now employ your factorizing a trinomial here. Once again, if you're not familiar with how to factorize a trinomial, I will leave a link in the description to the playlist on how we cover factorization in detail. Please go have a look at that before proceeding with the solving of equations. So we've got x here, we've got x here. Notice something. Our last term is positive. If the last term is positive, it means that we need to have same signs in the brackets. Which sign are we going to use? We use the sign of the middle term. Because the middle term is negative, I'm going to have two negative signs inside the brackets. Factors of 8, I am going to take 4 and 2. If you're confused on how I got these factors, once again, please have a look at our video on factorizing a trinomial, and then come back to this one. Once you have such a setup, you could say x minus 4 is equals to 0, or x minus 2 is equals to 0. I could take minus 4 to the other side. I could take minus 2 to the other side. I'm going to get x is equals to positive 4, and I'm going to get x is equals to positive 2. Wonderful, brilliant, life is great. All right, let's look at our last question for this section. We've got 3x cubed plus 30x squared plus 63x is equals to 0. Let's write this one. So we have got 3x cubed plus 30x squared plus 63x is equals to 0. Now pause a little bit and think about this. We've got x cubed here, so we cannot use the same factorizing of a trinomial as we did in the previous question. Notice something. There's a common factor. The common factor I'm going to take out is 3x, and why 3x? Well, first of all, I've got x in each of my terms. Why the 3? Well, each of my coefficients are divisible by 3. Once again, I take the first term, which is 3x cubed, divided by my common factor of 3x. I'm just going to remain with x squared. So first term in the bracket is going to be x squared. Next, I take the second term, which is 30x squared, divided by my common factor, which is 3x. This is going to give me 10x. So second term in the bracket is going to be 10x. Next, I have to take the last term. So now I'm taking the last term, which is 63x, and I'm dividing it by my common factor of 3x. My answer is going to be 21. So there we are. I'm going to put 21 there, is equals to 0. Now when you look at this expression inside the brackets, that's a trinomial. Let's factorize it. So 3x, open two brackets. This is x, this is x. Once again, the last term is positive. If the last term is positive, I need to have the same signs. Which signs am I using? The sign of the middle term. So inside of the bracket, I'm going to have a positive and a positive. Factors of 21, I'm going to take 7 and 3. This is equals to 0. In this instance, I am going to have 3x is equals to 0, or x plus 7 is equals to 0, or x plus 3 is equals to 0. If I divide both sides by 3 here, I'm going to get x is equals to 0. If I take 7 to the other side here, I'm going to get x is equals to negative 7. If I take 3 to the other side here, I'm going to get x is equals to negative 3. Wonderful. Life is great. Now, just something that you need to take note of here. Someone out there might be thinking, okay, let's take the second step that we have here, which is 3x into x squared plus 10x plus 21 is equals to 0. You might have been thinking to yourself, wait a second, I can divide both sides by 3x. So let me divide both sides by 3x. And then this will cancel this. I remain with x squared plus 10x plus 21 is equals to 0. Then I can factorize this and get x plus 3 and x plus 7 is equals to 0. Then I get x is equals to minus 3 x is equals to minus 7. If you look at this approach, you have only two x values. And notice that in the previous question, we had three x values. If you're going to use this approach, please take note that you are going to lose marks. Do not go this route. Factorize everything. Do not divide by a variable. Do not divide by x. If you're going to divide by x, you're going to lose marks. So please take note of that. Division by a variable is not allowed. You're going to lose marks. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense to you, and I hope you understand a little bit better now how to use factorization to solve quadratic equations. In fact, this was a revision of things that you've already done in grade 10, but it is necessary to go over this because in an exam, there's always going to be that one question that expects you to factorize a quadratic expression in order for you to get to solve for x. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Please click on the bell icon so that you never miss an update every time when we upload new content. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. We shall see each other in the next one. Ciao.